Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new here. For today's video, I'm going to be going over 2 guinea pig herd bondings that I have done this past week. One was a success and one was a failure, unfortunately. So I'm going to be going through all the footage from those bondings, talking about the process, the behaviors I witnessed, and just sort of what I think made one a success and the other one a failure. Both bondings were with females and a neutered male. So they were 2 herd bondings that included a neutered male. So for those of you who may not know, I currently have 8 guinea pigs that I was doing these bondings with. So I currently have 2 neutered males, 6 females, and then I have 1 intact male who's not really involved in like all these bondings and such. So originally I had a pair of 2 females, and then I had a herd of 1 neutered male, 4 females, and then I had a single neutered male. And I basically just mixed and mashed around these groups to try and make the best pairings possible that I could. I have bonded these guinea pigs in different groupings throughout the years that I've had them, so I really do know their personalities fairly well. The pair of girls I just adopted this month, so they were kind of the wild cards in this bonding situation because I wasn't really familiar with their personalities, their dominance behaviors, and all of that. So the first bonding that I did was I actually split up my herd of 5. And the reasoning for this was that a lot of the girls were not getting along. So even though they'd been bonded for about 4 or so months, I've been noticing a lot of like animosity behaviors. There would be chattering at random parts of the day. There would be a bunch of chasing. Sometimes even little launches. They never actually like turned into a tornado or anything, but they would do a little like warning launch and just bunches of chattering amongst the girls. And so I decided that I wanted to mix things around and try to do the best pairings possible. Obviously, I have a lot of pigs to work with here, and my goal was to have the 8 of these pigs all have a friend in pairings that worked and bondings that weren't like iffy or whatever. So my real goal here was to give everybody the best possible friend, the best possible outcome, while still having them be with someone. So I decided to split up my herd. When I had bonded them, I had bonded my neutered male and my female Cinnamon and Sage to a group of 3 females. And I split them up again like that because these 3 females did not like Sage or the other female. Something about that dynamic, they were just not a fan of having to interact with other females. They were really struggling to figure out their herd dynamic amongst the females, even months post bonding. And I figured that was just more stress than I was trying to put them through. So I decided to split up this group. I took my trio, these 3 females, and I bonded them with my single neutered boar Rocket. And this bonding was a success. It went over really, really well. Honestly, from like the first 15 minutes that I put them in the cage, I knew it was gonna be a success. It was one of the easiest bondings I have ever done, truly. I do not get a lot of easy bondings with my guinea pigs, and this truly was one of the easiest ones that I have ever done. So right off the bat, there was hardly any aggressive behavior. It was really just mostly Rocket, the neutered male, going around, humping the females, chasing them a little, maybe some light chattering. But honestly, the females were not bothered. They went from having 1 neutered male to a different neutered male, and it blended seamlessly. And now they don't have that extra female that they were really stressed out about. And honestly, it's been working so much better. I think that dynamic really works well for them. When I introduce other females, they kind of have to resort their position in the lower hierarchy with all those females, and it just got too messy in that larger herd. So having the 3 of them just with Rocket has honestly been a lot better. I will say the only one who isn't 100% a fan of Rocket is Peanut, which I know will surprise a lot of you guys if you know my pig's personalities, but Peanut is definitely not his biggest fan. She does give him little warning nips sometimes. She does like not want him exactly up in her space, but overall it's been a really, really solid bonding event. This is actually their new cage here behind me. So after this video, I'm going to be posting my huge cage renovation where I renovated this entire guinea pig room. So as you guys can see, it looks completely different behind me. So that will be the next video. I'm so excited to share that, but I want to sort of break down the bondings first. So yeah, Rocket and the female trio, I did that first and it went over amazingly. And really, I just did this because the female trio was not content with Cinnamon and Sage. The dynamic in that herd was not ideal. And I wanted to see if I could create something better, and I believe that I did. So that bonding was definitely a huge success. There was nothing during that bonding that made me question it. I barely had to pay attention to them. And after a few hours, it was evident that there was nothing to worry about and truly it was going to work. So I'm very, very grateful that that bonding worked out. The second bonding that I decided to do was Cinnamon and Sage. They're screaming back there. Was Cinnamon and Sage with the two new girls, Pumpkin and Boba. And I decided that this would be good just to give them more space. Obviously, they each already have a partner and they did not necessarily need to be bonded in order to have companionship, but I wanted to be able to give them a larger cage by combining the two pairs. So this was the second bonding, which ultimately did not work out. And that is because Boba and Sage are just way too similar. I swear they have very, very similar personalities in terms of dominance and hierarchy and like how they want to be in the herd. And so they just clash a bunch during the bonding. It was actually crazy. The footage, it was just a crazy bonding. They were actually in the bonding pen for 72 hours before I split them up. And I didn't split them up because of any fights or any blood drawn or anything intense like that. It was just evident that this dynamic was very similar to the dynamic that I'd had with the original herd. And the whole point of doing all these pairings and mixing everything around was to avoid that dynamic and to make sure that my pigs weren't in pairings that stressed them out and that made them uncomfortable or made them have a lot of issues with the other pigs. So day one, when I first put them in, Sage was very, very aggressive. She was chasing all the other pigs, including the neutered male, Cinnamon. She was chasing him, she was humping him, she was chattering, she was launching at Boba, chattering at Cinnamon, chasing Pumpkin. She was just a really big bully the first day. And honestly, Pumpkin the first day was so terrified. It honestly reminded me of Stardust, who is her mother, and her behavior. She was just very on edge. Whenever someone would come near her, she would just sprint away, and then that would make everybody else run, and then they're all running around, they're running into each other. And honestly, it was just not a good situation with her, making everyone anxious. So for the first 30 minutes of this bond, I actually removed Pumpkin from the bonding pen just because I wasn't making any progress with her in there, running around, stirring things up, making the other pigs upset. So for the first 30 minutes, it was just Cinnamon, Sage, and Boba. And Sage just was very, very aggressive, very, very dominant. She didn't draw blood, but she was just very forward. And then I added Pumpkin back in, and things were really getting iffy for a bit. I was like, I don't know if this is gonna work. And then Cinnamon, the neutered male, flipped randomly. It was so crazy. He just ran around and humped all of the girls and made them lay down in separate corners. He sort of put them in timeout. It was honestly hilarious, but he put them in their separate corners and he calmed them down. And then I was like, okay, this is going to work because clearly, he's taking over his role as a neutered male of the herd. He's calming the females down. Things were seeming to get better. Boba was very terrified at this point. She was very submissive, and things honestly seemed to be going okay. And then on days 2 and 3, I swear it was like a switch flipped. I don't know if they just became less scared and their personality started to show more, but Boba and Pumpkin turned on Sage. They started being way more dominant, and then Sage was the one who was terrified. She was so scared. Boba was chasing her whenever she would come out of a tunnel. She would just randomly nip her and nose punch her when they were eating, when they were just existing out of nowhere. And then craziest thing ever, Pumpkin also started to chase Sage. Like, I swear, which she was so scared the first day, but by day 3, she was so much more confident. She was trying to chase Sage around, and poor Sage, she was so terrified. Like, she would just hide in a tunnel for so long, and she would scream when they would come near her. She wouldn't come out. She just obviously was not herself. And I know a lot of people at this point would have honestly continued the bonding. And in the past, I have pushed past this point and continued the bonding. But like I said, now that I have so many different guinea pigs, my goal is to make happy bonds, not like bonds where they tolerate each other. And this was a bond where they were tolerating each other. They were not getting along. It had been 72 hours. And at this point, like, dynamics had not been figured out. It was crazy. Like, no one was sure where they fit. Things were flipping. Boba and Sage were clashing constantly. Sage was getting severely bullied after she had originally been the bully. And it was just clear that Sage and Boba were way too similar for this bond to work. So I ended up putting them back into pairs. Pumpkin with Boba, Cinnamon with Sage, the original pairs, which I think for now is doing them a lot better. I do think this experience really helped Pumpkin come out of her shell. She's much more outgoing now. And so I'm really grateful for that. But in the end, I don't think that the 4 of them were the perfect match that I've been hoping for. So they're back to their pairs. I may try again in the future. I've been trying to think of other groupings or matchings or whatever for everyone. But I think for now, what I have is the best situation possible. I am pretty bummed that the second bonding with the 4 of them didn't work, because I would have loved to have Pumpkin with Cinnamon and Sage, because those were Stardust partners. But obviously, you know, Boba was not about that. She did not want that. So maybe I'll try again in the future, maybe not, who knows. But I just needed to give you guys an update, a bonding video. Bonding videos are not necessarily like my most fun videos to make, because honestly, I feel like it gets very, very repetitive. I've done so many bondings, I have honestly lost count. So of course they're chewing down on their hay house, like, while I'm filming back there. But I've done so many bondings, I have honestly lost count, but I wanted to go ahead and try whatever pairings I thought may work before I did the room renovation. So as I said, the room is renovated, it is complete. The next video will be that entire process, but I just needed to go ahead and update you guys about these bondings. So I hope this video was at least interesting or helpful. If you have any questions about bonding, please leave them down below. I didn't want to go into too much detail because I have made so many bonding videos, but the success versus a failure I thought would be kind of good to share in this one. So thank you all so much for watching this video. I know that I changed my plans up, didn't do the bondings that I said I was originally going to do, but I think everyone at the moment is more content in these pairings than previously. So thank you all for watching this video. This is a reminder that if your pigs don't seem happy in their groupings, it is okay to switch it up. It is okay to try something different. My goal is always to make them the happiest that they can be, and maybe I did a bonding that wasn't perfect and it's time to try something else. And I think that that is what I did here, and it ended up working out a lot better. So I'm happy with the groupings I have now. I wish I could have done the 2 hers. That would have been amazing, but maybe in the future. So thank you all so much for watching. Get excited for the renovation video. It will be out next. I'm super excited to share it with you guys. As you can see, I went in, it looks amazing, so can't wait to share that. Thank you all so much for watching. Please like if you enjoyed, subscribe to see more of my content, and thank you for watching. I'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.